All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. We are doing the wheat sector technical analysis videos looking at Tilray and ACB. Look, last week I was pretty pessimistic here, okay? When you're under 1, 2, 3, when you're under all 5 of the moving averages, bad things tend to happen. And, we saw it for a couple days, but really for almost no reason, we got a little bit of a recovery here. There was no major news, and for the most part, the whole industry did pretty well. Unfortunately, and we'll talk about this shortly, it just really wasn't good enough, right? So, before we get to the details, real quick, what are we going to do today? Same thing we do all the time, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how things are setting up. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself, and then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, real quick, if you can please like and subscribe, it does really well with YouTube. Otherwise, I sincerely appreciate you being here, okay? And if you disagree with anything, please throw it in the comments, all right? I would much rather you tell me than my money go down the toilet in the market. You know what I mean? So, two-way street here. Look, let's get into the details, okay? And again, I'm not going to repeat it too much, but under all 5, we only have 5, bad things happen, right? The fact that there was no news, I think, is really why it wasn't able to get back over the 8 and the 20, right? Again, I say it so many times, right? When you're under both lines, bad things happen. When you're over both lines, good things happen, right? If these other lines weren't as tight, it really would be a different story, you know what I mean? But yeah, general rule, be over both of these two and it's a good thing, right? So I'm glad we got over the 8, but definitely did not get over the 20, I think, right? Yeah, look at that. So we close on the 20, all right? It closes at 309, and then the 20 in orange you see right there is also at 309. Look, being on the line by no means is over the line, right? You did not break it. You simply, gave it a good pet if it was a dog or a cat, right? So you literally, even if it's by a penny, you have to either get over the line or simply put, you don't do it, all right? So this at least breaks the 8, and then clearly not good confirmation, right? Obviously a doji doesn't count. You should already know that if you watch my videos. And then look at that, another doji back to back, right? So a lot of uncertainty over the last couple days, right? Is it going to get over it? Is it not? And look, these two lines are really tight to each other, right? It's hard to break the 20, let alone when the 50 is right there too, right? So, you can really only expect so much, right? But yeah, I mean, it's definitely technically still over the 8. I'm really, I mean, Monday's going to matter a lot, okay? Monday either will bounce on the 8 and hopefully get over the 2 lines, right? I think the goal would be 312. It's definitely a decent, I think it's like about a 5% gain if it was going to do it, right? But yeah, if you can get 312, 311 even, hey, you'll at least get over the critical 2 lines right here, right? If we lose the 8 moving average, that'll be really bad. And then if we lose this line, this 286, that'll also be real bad, because if we lose 286, it will be a quick drop to these 2 lines right here. I'm really surprised it wasn't a quicker drop from this. Like I'm really surprised there wasn't a second red candle equal or bigger to this, because look, MACD goes under with the red over green, RSI goes under red over green. I mean, if this volume here was just a little higher, it would have gotten ugly, right? But yeah, a good recovery attempt, but like I started this video, it wasn't good enough for me to feel comfortable, you know what I mean? I'm still under the impression that we're coming down here. The one thing that I haven't said yet, look, these 5 lines are pretty much going in a horizontal cluster. It seems like these ones are going a little more down than they are going, horizontal with these two, but the 5 lines are pretty close to each other. And, I say it's like a tornado, right? It might easily get sucked back in. I kind of think that is what happened here. But yeah, I'm really, I'm still kind of expecting the violent fall down unless the stock tells me otherwise, right? And really the last thing I want to touch on the daily before we swing to the weekly, look, volume used to be up here at 26 million, all right, on the average. We get a pretty devastating drop that moves us to like 23, right? About 10% drop. That's fairly significant. We've now made what looks like another 10% drop that takes us from the 20s, right, down to 17, a little more than 10% actually. So I don't like that we're losing average volume. Right? On average, we just continue to drop, and we've gone from almost 30 to under half of that, right? Like we're sitting at 12 as of the last day of trading, right? So it's disheartening because again, my second golden rule of trading is volume is king, right? You can only make so much money. If no one's buying it, it's not going to go up, right? As good as the technicals will look, yeah, if no one's putting their money into this, it's not going to do much, right? So a good amount on the daily right there for Tilray. And look, this is not a good weekly, right? You're definitely under both the 8 and the 20. Obviously, it's not as devastating as this, but what we thought was going to be good clearly didn't happen. And the second attempt isn't happening as fast as we wanted, right? I really would have expected a break of the 50 and a second attempt at the, a break of this 20 and a second attempt at the 50 a lot sooner than I was expecting to go down, right? And not a good RSI by any means. Let me zoom in a little bit. It's not super drastic, but it's definitely not good, right? So, yeah, this is not a good weekly. Again, if it was a good weekly, we could expect a little more on the daily, but it's been a while since we've seen anything like this, right? This is definitely like that was a small little version of it, and definitely nothing like that back here, right? So, and again, this is a pretty small version of it too. The steepness is what I mean by small. Obviously, same roughly 4 or 5 green candles, but that's a nice upway. So good amount of time on Tilray, but again, overall, I have to still stay pessimistic, right? My mood will completely change if we can at least get even that 312 number I mentioned earlier. Look, put me over 3 of the 5 lines. We're under 4 of the 5, right? At least give me like a little better than half for me to sit here and you know, give a thumbs up here. But yeah, unfortunately, I still have to stay a little pessimistic on Tilray. And again, if we lose these 2 lines, you're in all-time lows. And I've said it often, once something falls in all-time lows, back of my head, there's like another 20% or more loss happening there. So okay, look at ACB, all right? A couple things jump out quickly. The exact, where's the 200 up here, right? So exact same thing with it falling under all the moving averages. Like I said, it looked like the whole industry had this little recovery right here. And again, I really looked for news because I'm telling you, if the news was there, I would have jumped into these stocks, right? It just didn't look like much. And look, where Tilray at least tried to hit the 20, this one could barely break the 8 for the life of it, right? Obviously bad confirmation the next day, and the following day doesn't even get over the line, right? So I'm trying to stay a little more biased with ACB, but I generally expect the worst from this, and that is kind of what I'm seeing here, right? I would have loved for this to do at least as well as Tilly did, because look, this one has that same cluster right here. This one lost them all and came up. There's definitely some similarities, right? But yeah, get me a little closer to these 2 lines like Tilray did, right? At least keep me over the 8 like Tilray is, right? Right now, what I'm seeing is the fact that this one is under really makes me believe that Tilray being over is insignificant, right? Look, let's just go back to it real quickly. This thing, it's 2 dojis, and it's still, like I always say, doji doesn't count. And I think the fact that these 2 don't count, and the fact that ACB is already saying, hey, even if I had a real green one, that's a good green candle right there, it still couldn't get over it, right? It closes at 94 cents. The 8 is at 94 cents. I literally started the other section with, you are either over it or you're not. Being on it or under it means absolutely nothing, right? So, yeah, all that said, again, this is just not looking that good. And I think a lot of it will change when it can probably even get over the 50. Obviously, the 20 is over that. So really, at that point, I might as well just say the 20. But yeah, look, rule number 1, get over the 8. Rule number like 1.5 is get over the 8 and the 20, right? So clearly short. And look, this is a much worse weekly compared to, look, I'm going to delete all these lines. Let's make some new lines here real quick. Let's do this real quick, okay? Don't want to lose that. Oh man, we're like sitting on that too. That's not good. And then don't want to lose. I mean, sorry, we'd love to break this one. Oh, and that's right at the 50. Look, if you break the 50, that's a real nice climb, and it looks like there's a lot more climbing after that. You know what I mean? So, a lot easier trading up here. But yeah, if you can break this 20, I mean, that's a decent gap right there if it hits, right? But yeah, that's an ugly RSI right there. Let me come to the daily and make a couple more lines just to be safe. Oh man, I can't even make any lines because we have these right here. Where's this at? That's exactly right there. And then that's exactly right there. You literally, these are all the lines up to the penny, right? I would have made one right here. That's the 100. I'm not going to draw one right on the 100. I would have made one right here. That's the 200. I'm not going to draw one on the 200. I guess I'll draw this one just to have this as the bottom because this is our daily all-time low worry. Can't go lower than 84 cents. That would be very much a horrible thing. So yeah, that's it for this one. Again, if you disagree with, I am not here to pretend I'm perfect and all-knowing, all right? So let me know if you disagree. Otherwise, one last time, I sincerely appreciate your time, and I'm very glad that you're here. Thank you so much.